8 minutes. That is the response window between a swarm attack and a burning deck in the central Persian Gulf. 46 IRGC speedboats are closing from 3 bearings, cutting across the bow of US Navy Blockade Ships holding station near the Strait of Hormuz. The sea lane is narrow. The radar picture is crowded. Escape routes are collapsing by the second. No warning. No defense. No escape. The title tells you everything about the battlefield. This is not a blue water duel in open ocean. This is literal warfare inside one of the most dangerous maritime choke points on Earth. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is roughly 21 miles wide, with only 2 2-mile shipping lanes separated by a buffer zone. That geometry matters. It compresses movement, limits maneuver, and turns civilian traffic into clutter. A destroyer built for ocean combat suddenly operates inside a funnel. Now add the swarm. 46 fast attack craft, likely a mix of IRGC Navy Bagamar-style boats, Ashura patrol craft, and missile-armed variants capable of 45 to 60 knots. Small radar signature, low freeboard hulls, difficult visual detection in sea haze, hard to engage cleanly when merchant tankers are only hundreds of yards away. That is exactly why Iran has trained this doctrine since 2019 and long before. Saturate sensors. Split attention, close range, strike first. But here's where it gets really interesting. The phrase blockade ships changes the entire scenario. A blockade force is not sprinting at flank speed. It is holding position, inspecting traffic, enforcing exclusion lines, and protecting boarding teams. That means predictable tracks, reduced speed, repeated patterns. Every naval commander knows stationary ships are target sets. According to repeated U.S. Fifth Fleet warnings over the last decade, unsafe and unprofessional IRGC approaches often begin at 1,000 yards, then close to under 100 yards. That distance disappears in seconds at 50 knots. A speedboat traveling 57 miles per hour covers 100 yards in under 4 seconds. There is no luxury of debate, only rules of engagement and reaction time. Imagine you're the American Task Group commander. Your Combat Information Center sees contacts multiplying. 4 to the north, 12 from the east. Another cluster hugging commercial traffic from the south. AIS merchant signals flood the screen. Bridge teams report wakes crossing ahead. Helicopters are airborne, but fuel clocks are running. You need space. You have none. And then a bombshell. 8 minutes away, an A-10 Warthog is inbound. That matters because air power rewrites surface geometry. A destroyer sees at sea level. An aircraft sees the pattern from altitude. Even at 8,000 feet, an A-10 pilot can sort wakes, vectors, and separation lanes in ways a shipboard bridge cannot. Suddenly, the swarm is exposed from above. Their concealment tactic begins collapsing. The A-10 Thunderbolt II is old by modern standards. First flown in 1972. But age is irrelevant in close maritime suppression. Twin TF-30 4 engines. Titanium armored cockpit. Combat radius often cited around 250 nautical miles without refueling, extended with tanker support. Most important is the GU-8/A Avenger 30mm cannon firing up to 3,900 rounds per minute. Against armored columns it is famous. Against thin-hull speedboats, it is devastating. But this is a routine. Not here. Not under these conditions. Strafing small craft near commercial shipping requires angle discipline, positive identification, and fire control restraint. A tanker 900 feet long cannot be mistaken for a hostile craft crossing its wake. One bad burst creates an international crisis. So the A-10's arrival is not simply firepower. It is command presence. U.S. Central Command has repeatedly emphasized layered deterrence in the Gulf, naval escorts, surveillance aircraft, MQ-9 drones, maritime patrol platforms, and rapid response strike assets. The Warthog fits that stack as a blunt instrument. Slow enough to loiter, tough enough to stay, accurate enough to scare first and shoot second. Now compare that with the IRGC swarm doctrine. Plan A is intimidation. Force a U.S. vessel to alter course. Film the encounter. Broadcast sovereignty messaging. Plan B is disruption. Box ships in. Delay movement. Trigger overreaction. Plan C is kinetic escalation using rockets, mines, or anti-ship missiles from shore batteries. But each plan depends on compressed distance. The A-10 expands distance again. By April 27, 2026, analysts across regional security circles were already warning that every Gulf encounter carries escalation risk because the kill chain is shorter than ever. Coastal radars cue boats. Boats cue drones. Drones cue missiles. A single misread turn becomes a three-layer attack sequence within minutes. But behind the curtain, there is a far bigger picture. This is not about 46 boats alone. It is about shoreline depth. Iran controls northern Gulf coastline, island positions, hidden inlets, and missile batteries overlooking transit lanes. Systems like Noor and Qatar anti-ship missiles, with ranges often cited from roughly 120 kilometers to over 200 kilometers, depending on variant, can threaten ships far beyond visual horizon. The swarm is only the front line. That means the U.S. commander faces two clocks. Clock 1 is the immediate boat swarm measured in seconds. Clock 2 is the shore-launched missile threat measured in minutes. If the blockade force concentrates on one, it risks the other. This is classic multi-axis pressure. So, why the A-10 in 8 minutes? Because 8 minutes is fast enough to break the first clock before the second matures. A nearby alert aircraft, already armed and airborne or on strip alert in the region, can reach the scene before boats fully establish encirclement. It can orbit outside small arms range, issue warnings, and mark hostile craft with visible presence. Sometimes that alone resets the encounter. US Navy doctrine has another tool: shipboard helicopters. MH-60 Seahawks carry sensors, crew-served weapons, and precision options. But helicopters are more vulnerable at low speed near dense swarms and shoulder-fired threats. The A-10 brings armor and intimidation that rotary wing aircraft do not. Different platform, different message. And then another problem appears: fuel and ammunition. Swarm boats often rely on short-range bursts from nearby bases. They can surge quickly but cannot remain indefinitely. An A-10 overhead for 30 minutes changes endurance math. Every extra orbit minute drains the attackers more than the defenders. What began as an ambush becomes exposure. Imagine you're the IRGC flotilla leader. Now, you expected hesitant radio calls and cautious turns. Instead, a low silhouette jet rolls in from the west, descending through haze. Its cannon pylon is visible. The ships stop yielding sea room. Helicopters widen. Radar locks intensify. Your boats are fast, but they are now isolated dots on open water. This is where deterrence becomes physical. Not speeches, not statements. Angles and timing. If the A-10 performs a show of force pass at low altitude and high speed, wake lines scatter instantly. Boats break formation to avoid collision. Mutual support disappears. The swarm loses its main advantage: concentration. According to former CENTCOM briefings and repeated Pentagon statements, professional maritime conduct in the Gulf depends on maintaining safe separation and obeying bridge-to-bridge communication. Swarms deliberately violate both. Once formation coherence breaks, they lose propaganda value and tactical pressure simultaneously. But here's where it gets really interesting again. The U.S. ships in a blockade posture are not helpless targets. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers displace around 9,000 tons, carry Spy Series radar systems, electronic warfare suites, close-in defenses, and armed crews. Patrol craft and littoral escorts add machine guns, optics, and intercept boats. The danger comes from confusion, not weakness. Confusion is the weapon. If 46 small contacts create hesitation for just 90 seconds, that may be enough to place one explosive boat close, one drone overhead, and one missile battery on standby. That is the consequence cascade. Delay becomes vulnerability. Vulnerability becomes targeting. Targeting becomes strike opportunity. So, how does it end? Usually not with gunfire. Usually with geometry reversal. Air cover overhead. Escorts spreading outward. Merchant traffic rerouted. Speedboats forced to widen. Distances restored above 500 yards, then 1,000. Once range opens, the trap dissolves. And yet, every such encounter teaches both sides. Iran studies response time. Was it 12 minutes last year? 8 minutes now. Which bearing was uncovered? Which radio frequency was used? The US studies swarm spacing, launch ports, drone support, and command discipline. Every standoff is intelligence collection in real time. By the end of spring, any sustained blockade campaign would face the same truth. Numbers alone do not win at sea. 46 boats can surround steel hulls. They cannot dominate controlled airspace overhead. The side that owns the third dimension owns the reset button. Final image. Sunset over the Gulf. Merchant tankers creeping north. 2 U.S. warships holding line. 46 wakes spread wide and fading. Above them, one A-10 circling left, nose low, patient, armed, unblinking. 8 minutes. One arrival. Entire formation broken. Tight waters. Fast boats. Short clocks. Then air power. If you want to see how U.S. destroyers counter missile swarms inside the Strait of Hormuz, watch the next analysis on this channel.